Mr. Happy living here, and I'm happy to be broadcasting from WITV7 in the beautiful Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina, USA. Hey friends, come and join me for a minute. And just imagine how fabulous you'd feel living the unique and distinct life that you were put on this planet to live, doing work you love, with people you love, and places you love, and all the while creating something of real value to others. Well, that's what I call a life of significance, and I can tell you it makes a very happy life. And so can my friend Damien Argrett, and he's here to share his unique and distinct journey to his life of significance. But before we bring him on, I'd like to share a poem that we created to thank him for being our guest star today. We're calling it Transformation, Not Trophies, and it goes like this. Before the spotlight, before the score, before crowds ever called his name, there was quiet strength at the kitchen table, work before comfort, character over fame. Mom taught transformation, not trophies, a lesson lived long before the game. Damien learned from hands worn honest, from sacrifice that never asked to be seen, from love that chose responsibility when life was heavy and days were lean. Best of both worlds, grit and grace, a legacy built in the spaces between. Now courts become classrooms, lives are lifted, and young hearts grow stronger under his care. He's building people, not players, planting purpose everywhere. Listen and hear what truly wins. Transformation, not trophies, a powerful message we share. Hey, Damien, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Matt. Man, I definitely appreciate you having me, man. It's definitely a true privilege to be on.
Very good. Why don't you just get us started by telling us what you're doing these days to make your mark of significance on the world?
Okay, so we're celebrating in 2026 BOBW Basketball Services 15-year anniversary.
Right on.
So yeah, we're really excited about that. We've been in the Mooresville, Lake Norman area serving the youth for the past 15 years. And
Wow.
I mean, it's been an absolute blessing, through, I would say, the economy crash, through COVID, obviously, and all that craziness. We've been able to, continue to grow strong, continue to grow every single year, and just, serve this area, youth and families, with pretty good basketball program. So I'm really, really excited about that and blessed to, be able to talk about that.
Very good. And how do you intentionally use basketball? You're teaching more than just basketball skills, but rather as a tool for teaching life lessons.
Yeah, man. So, basketball is, to your point, the tool, but it allows me to get kids in, if that makes sense. And,
Hmm.
being a ex-college player, ex-professional player, players are attracted to that, and parents are attracted to that. So it gets me in spaces and gets me in rooms that I normally, may not be able to get in. And it
Hmm.
allows parents and players to trust me. And from there, the skills, obviously I'm teaching them basketball skills, but I'm also, teaching them about character and discipline and humility and those, type of things that are going to carry them well beyond basketball ever will.
Very good. Okay, and tell us also, you have a charitable organization called BOBW Cares. So what was the catalyst for that? When did you start that, and why did you start it?
So BOBW Cares is the nonprofit portion of our organization, and we started that just because we felt like there was a need not only for kids but families in the area. Mooresville obviously has two types of demographics. They have a well-off demographic, and they have a demographic who's not as well off. And I grew up in the South Bronx. I moved down here to Kannapolis, and my mom, she worked her behind off to make sure we had what we did have. But remember those times we struggled and stuff. So for me, being successful in the game of basketball, having the ability to give back, it was important to me to start BOBW Cares and,
Hmm.
have that part of our nonprofit where we can do mentorship programs, giveaways during the Christmas holiday, Thanksgiving, We have a partnership with Fifth Street Ministries where we're doing workshops with their men now, their men
Mm,
population too. So teaching them
great.
different life skills. So I'm excited about that.
That's great. What's a favorite story that reminds you of why BOBW Cares exists?
I would say during COVID, going down to downtown Charlotte and providing meals and,
Uh,
boots on, being on the street and seeing the people and having that
yeah.
interaction with them and,
Yeah.
understanding like we all could be in that same situation,
Yes, sir.
but understanding also how blessed we are to also be able to give back. So those conversations and, those handshakes, those hugs, those words of encouragement, myself and my team were able to give just I mean, yeah, words can't express how much that meant to me.
Yeah. And you've been very modest here because what are you doing these days? I know you just released a book and you didn't even bring up your book. So tell us about Against the Clock.
Yeah, I didn't bring up the book because first off, I'm not a writer, but I felt like I had really interesting story to tell. I've had people tell me that over the past years, and I worked on it all 2025. So, after talking to my wife and just kind of going back and forth about it, I was like, you know what? I got somebody to edit it for me. I figured out how to publish it, and lo and behold, I released it to the masses.
Right on. So, and I know you've mentioned your mom about in the book. So what lesson from your mom shows up most in the book? What if you have one or two big takeaways from mom? What are those?
Just her ability not to complain. I mean,
Mm,
as long as I've known her, my 43 years on this earth, I've never heard her complain, no
mm,
matter how tough the circumstances have gotten. I mean, she's just worked her butt off. She provided for her family. No excuses. I mean, she gave when she could. She continues to give when she can. I've never seen anything like that, from a human being, and she's absolutely my inspiration.
Now, most of the audience won't know this, but you're about 6'8". How big
Correct.
is
Yes,
mom? How tall is mom?
I would say mom is probably about 5'10",
5'10".
5'10". Yeah, she's close to 6 foot. So
And she can wield plenty of power over this big 6'8" man.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she definitely. There's two females I bow down to, my wife and my mother. So
Smart man.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So one more thing on the book. So who did you write this book to reach? Who are you? Who's the person that you're talking to?
I mean, I'm talking to anybody who ever had a dream, anybody who ever felt like they were running out of time, that they didn't have what it took to accomplish something. To the person who feels like they have to be perfect, you don't. Uh, I would say to anybody, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter the age, the race, the gender, anybody who has a goal and a dream, and who's just willing to put in the work,
Yeah,
willing to humble themselves and ask, for help when they need it.
yeah, very good. Last thing on what you're doing these days, husband, father, and man of character is how I've described this. And how old's your son?
Son is 5 years old.
So how has fatherhood changed the way you're leading young athletes? So you had 10 years without him, 5 years with him in this role. How has his birth and fathering him changed how you deal with other kids?
I've always been a tough love kind of person because that, what was instilled in me. Um, it's definitely humbled me a lot and has made me step back at times and just understand and just try to be as a little bit more compassionate. Obviously he's growing up in a different time than I did, in different circumstances. So I needed that tough love, and that's what I was around. But for him, he's provided for very well by me and my wife. So his circumstances are a little different, as are a lot of the kids that I work with. So
Hmm.
giving them that tough love, but also making sure that they understand, like, listen, you have a lot of opportunities at your disposal. Your parents are well off, and you have, all of these things at your grasp, but you still have to understand the world's not going to give you anything you don't work for.
Yeah. Yeah, and give the audience just or at least the person who needs to hear this, the difference between you explained your life. You had less, let's say in quotes, because how do you describe it, right? If you're full of love, you got a lot that maybe a
Yeah,
kid in the
absolutely.
mansion doesn't have. So, but having less and your son having more, and at the end of the day, what difference does it make? If you want to improve your life, you got to go back to your mom's attitude, no excuses, right? It is what it is.
Yeah. No, you're definitely right about that, man. I mean, there's no reason to give any excuses, especially in this day and age. Kids are, making people are making a living just off their cell phones, and just devices and stuff. So, the world is really at these kids' disposal. For me, I just think it's important to, continue to love them hard, love them tough, encourage them, and just teach
Yeah.
them that, they have what it takes to do what they want to in life.
Yeah, very good. All right, Damien, let's move on to do a little mathematics so our friends all around the world can get to know you through our happy formula. It's really simple, but it's also really powerful. And it goes like this: power plus purpose equals happy. So let's start with power. What are your personal practices for building up all the power that you need to get things done, whether it's physically, mentally, financially, spiritually, emotionally? In other words, Damien, what do you do on a regular basis to create the power you need to take really great care of yourself and your loved ones and still have plenty of juice left over so you can be a giver to others?
Absolutely. So I would say first and foremost, everything starts with my faith and just, before my feet hit the floor, just kind of saying a prayer to myself, praying over first off my family, my loved ones, and then myself, and just uh, asking God for the strength to go out there and do what He wants me to do, whatever that may be, because, obviously every day it may change, you know. I try to exercise every single day. I mean, I'm walking 4 to 6 miles a day. My physical health is really important to me because I want to be around for my son. My father passed away from diabetes, unfortunately, and um, we don't have a lot of health issues in our family, but I'm doing everything in my power to make sure I'm there. So, obviously, my faith, exercising. Uh, After I do all that, make up the bed first thing in the morning because I believe that's a really important trait.
Yes,
You got to get
sir.
that done. Make that bed up before you do anything. You know,
Yeah.
and I mean, just from a financial standpoint, my wife and I really smart when it comes to those things. So we're not spending beyond our means. We tithe, we give uh, a lot, and to who much is given, a lot is required to them too. So we
Mhm.
definitely believe in that. So, we've been blessed and we believe in making sure we pass that blessing on because this isn't ours. We're just being given this for, however much time we have on this earth.
Yeah. Financial management, the one of the really simple keys is if you discipline yourself to never spend more than you earn, you're always going to have.
Yeah.
And if you don't have more financial, then you gotta squeeze back every which way you can so that you don't go in deficit. And if you live your life that way, you will end up having a pretty strong financial basis.
Yes, sir.
Same
No, I definitely agree.
same with a lot of the skills you teach, right? If you
Yeah.
just don't go into deficit, you just keep advancing,
Yeah.
everything gets great on the court and in the bank account. Okay, Damien, let's discuss my favorite power generating concept. It's called a Kaizen state of mind. And it's this beautiful Japanese idea that small incremental improvements add up over time to yield great big results. And it's so powerful because it's about mindset, not circumstance. Kaizening life is knowing I can always do something better tomorrow than today. And it creates a gentle, relentless, never ending power that keeps lifting me higher day after day after day. So, Damien, how does Kaizening your life help you increase your power to continuously become more so you can continue giving more and impacting even more lives?
Think for me, it's just that accountability piece. I mean, every day I have to make sure I'm checking all my boxes because if I'm not good for myself, I'm not going to be good for anyone else. Whether it be my family, the players I serve, the families I serve, and that type of thing. So for me, it's important every single day just to try to get to your point 1% better.
Hmm.
Just and that's really what helped me as far as what even my basketball career. I mean, every single day you have to get 1% better. And
Hmm.
I mean, I think having that patience, because sometimes, especially in this world, it's a microwave
Yes.
result type of world. Everybody wants it now.
Yeah.
I've been able to be successful because my mindset changed, if that makes sense.
Yep.
I'm okay with making those small steps. And I mean, I started my book to your point earlier. I started my book in 2005, and I worked on it an entire year, every single day, bit by bit. And people see the finished product, but they didn't see every single day and the struggle that
Yeah.
went into doing that and stuff. So I mean, I try to just live my life through that, just every single day getting 1% better.
Yeah, but that's you mentioned it. It's a mindset. So you can you can just stumble through life and you'll have a day when you've got 1% better. That'll work out. But when you make it your mindset, Kaizen or 1% better, however you want to describe it, that when you wake up, you're looking for, okay, what am I going to do today that's going to advance me? And
Yeah.
what I came up
Yeah.
with also, I like your thought on this. I call it Kaizen and hold. So once you've made that gain, hold on to it for dear life. Don't, if you went from 200 pounds to 180 pounds, don't go back to 200 pounds if you don't want to be there. Hold on tight, right?
Man, absolutely, man. I actually I love that phrase. It's tough though, to hold on to it because obviously we all are human at the end of the day. So we're going to have good days and bad days and days where, our faith can even waver, if we allow it to.
Hmm.
Um, but I would definitely say for me, there's always more more good days. Like I try not to allow myself to get in those type of funks where I take my foot off the gas to your point and I'm holding on,
Hmm.
to dear life to make sure that I'm, checking all those boxes and, you know, on the days I don't feel like making up my bed, making it up because I know how important that is to the rest of my day and just the organization of it. And uh, just checking every single box I can to make sure I'm putting myself in the position to be the best person I could be so that I could be the best person for the people who need me.
Yeah, yeah, very good. All right, well, speaking of needing, let's talk about exploring purpose. That's the second part of our happy formula. And I've observed that the big discoveries of purpose often come from devastation, addiction, abuse, disease, death, disaster. Something awful strips life to its core, resulting in a big and unexpected change. However, in my book, Turning Inspiration into Action, I share the transformational process that I've used to discover the purpose of my life using inspiration. So, how about you, Damien? Was there a specific moment or event or crisis or inspiration that revealed to you the God given purpose you were meant to live?
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned in my book, I would probably say my father's death, because it was just out of nowhere.
How old were you?
I was 17. So it was actually probably about, I want to say 2 to 3 weeks going into my senior year of high school.
Mm,
And we weren't, I wouldn't say we were the closest. He had his issues and his demons and stuff, but still your dad, still your father. And it was definitely devastating to me. And it was one of those situations where I could have just chose to go down the wrong path and make all these excuses on why I'm not going to be successful and, start getting into trouble, start doing things I'm not supposed to be doing, not worried about basketball, not worried about college anymore, anything like that. But I mean, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was people around me at the time. I had a great coach, Coach John Davis, my high school coach, my course teacher, Jan Gore, who I mentioned both of them in my book, my mom, obviously, but something inside of me, and it could have very well been God, just saying like, listen, we're not doing this. Like you're
So,
going in this.
how long was that? Were you in a, your dad died, you said unexpectedly, there was no clue. He just died.
It was no clue. Like
Gosh.
he he was sick, I want to say like a day or two before. Nothing out of the ordinary though, but my sister and my mom took him to the hospital.
Mm,
And it was early in the morning. So I think my brother was there, my brother Brandon, younger. So I ended up going back to sleep because I'm like, all right, they're gonna take him to the hospital, he'll come back fine. And then I want to say I woke up and they came home, and that's when they broke the news to us. He wasn't
mm,
with them, obviously, that, he had passed away. So it was a complete shock to our family.
goodness. And how long were you in this soup of overwhelmness until you had that spark, maybe that message from God or whatever it was that you just described as the catalyst? How long was it? And then what happened? How did you change when that catalyst happened?
Well, I would say that that day, I remember calling my high school coach and the principal uh, at the time, Alan King, and they came over, to our house and, sat with me, asked my mom if they, she needed anything or, just checking on us and asked me, what I needed. And I just asked them if I could go to the gym. So John took me over to the high school, South Rowan High School, and I remember it like it was yesterday. The lights were off, but the door to the gym, like two of them were open. And I just remember asking for basketball and just shooting in the dark
Mm,
uh,
mm,
for at least an hour or two, while
mm,
the lights were off, just shooting, just thinking about what had just happened, just trying to, figure it all out, like, because it
mm.
was just really devastating to all of us. But um, I think that was really the the point where I knew that my mindset was different. Because what kid would want to go to a gym and shoot basketball? How would that be a release to somebody?
Yeah.
Instead of just staying home and crying and just, being in the moment, just really allowing my feelings. Like I wanted to go shoot basketball because that's what I loved and that's what would make me feel better. Yeah, so I think that was really the moment where I knew, like, maybe this game can't take me somewhere.
So during your college years and your pro years, you played pro about 6 years, is that right?
Yeah, I played for 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you see basketball as the goal and your identity, or was it already shaping something deeper in you?
Well, I mean, just going a little bit back, I played 1 year high school basketball. Just my senior
Oh,
year, I grew 10 inches to somewhere between my junior and senior year. So I kept playing throughout high school, just at the recs and stuff like that. But, ended up getting on at Pfeiffer, had a really good career there, then had the opportunity to go play overseas because of the success I had at Pfeiffer. But I never knew basketball was going to take me anywhere. I got to be honest. Obviously, as a
mm,
kid, you think, oh, I'm going to the NBA. Everybody thinks they're going
yeah,
to the NBA or the NFL, but I
yeah,
never thought in my wildest dreams I would have the opportunity to play professional basketball. So
yeah.
everything that happened to me, it was kind of like, you know, I'm just rolling with the punches, man. I'm working hard, and these things are just doors are opening for me because I'm working hard. I'm
Yeah,
a good person, and I got the right people in my life.
yeah. And was there a moment when basketball ended? Did you go right into coaching, or was there a moment when you started feeling this need to that you are basketball to teach life lessons to youth instead of to make a gazillion dollars in the NBA?
No, man. I mean, I had a lot of success overseas playing. I was able to work my way up to where I was making a really, good living. But then 2008 happened, 2009. And, that was kind of when the economy around the world went belly up. So a lot of the offers that I was receiving prior to that, those offers were getting cut in half because over in
Mm,
Europe, they rely heavily on sponsorship.
mm,
So the first year I stopped playing, I was still working at Barium Springs Children's Homes at the time. I was a case
mm,
worker, community support worker, and I was still working out thinking, hey, the economy's going to get better. It's going to be fine. I'll just go back to playing basketball. And, that second year came and those offers were still the same. So at that point, I knew I had to pivot. And I had been
mm,
working out and I was attracting a lot of kids and parents when I was working out at the Y. They would come up to me because, I'm 6'8", obviously, and there's not a lot of 6'8" people in
Yeah.
Statesville. So they would see me doing what I was doing, and they knew, hey, this guy definitely played at a high level. So they were asking me questions. So from there, I was giving pointers, and, one kid started working out with them, started training them. That led to two, that led to three, which led to,
But it just happened.
obviously where I'm at. Yeah, just kept on happening. So
Yeah, one
yeah, I
step
would
at a
say that
time.
would, yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's great. So during my research, someone said that your influence is not only public, but it's generational and relational. So what does that mean to you to hear somebody say that your impact is generational and relational?
I mean, that definitely means a lot to me. Uh, just because I definitely, a lot of people don't know this about me because, obviously my stature says otherwise, but I definitely am in this for all the right reasons. I love what I do. I love the people I'm surrounded with. I love the people, care for the people who I have the opportunity to touch. I want to have that type of impact on people. I want to, get to the point where I was training kids and now they're having kids. Now they're married and stuff. So, I mean, and their kids will be coming to me possibly to train. So, um, it's just exciting, man, to be able to pour into someone and just being the type of person you are, they want to keep, surrounding themselves with you, well after you've, played or, worked on as far
Ah,
as basketball goes.
yeah, yeah. I didn't coach like you did, but uh, after my college days and I was trying to go into the pros for 2 or 3 years, I was a freshman football coach in high school and then a sophomore coach. And I was assistant coach 1 year and head coach 2 different years. So I think I did like 3 years and that was it. And the little JV team that I was coaching, we only had like 14 or 15 players. So,
Okay.
so I was playing quarterback in practice and it was crazy. But now flash forward 40 years, let's say, and I get a Facebook message from this young man who's not a young man anymore. He's just damn near my age, and said, "Hey, coach, this is such and such. I just want to let you know you made me the man I am today." I'm thinking, what are you talking about? But that is, you mentioned your high school coach. Coaches have a huge impact on their athletes, and it carries into generations.
No, man, I mean, I definitely agree with that, man. It's just one of those things to your point. I mean, when I first got into it, I knew I didn't want to do like high school or college, or there wasn't any specific level I wanted to coach at, but I knew I loved the game. I knew I was good at the game and I knew I could teach the game. And to your point, those coaches, my high school coach, my college coach, um, specifically my college coach, to this day, we still have a great relationship. Like we go see
Hmm.
him like once a year. We golf with him. We laugh about the old stories and, just the great times we had. And he's
Yeah.
definitely a huge reason why I am the man I am today and the coach I am today too.
Yeah, yeah. Very good. Thank you for that, Damien. Now let's take a quick commercial break so our sponsor can spread a little love with our audience.
We are a community broadcasting network based in North Carolina, dedicated to providing accessible educational content to benefit everyone. Here at WYTV7, our mission is to provide transparency and integrity, sharing real-life touching stories that matter. We are an all-exclusive and diverse network, assisting others in youth empowerment training, helping the underprivileged, supporting and strengthening families and individuals, self-help awareness, giving scholarships, and helping essential community workers. Our mission is made possible by our wonderful volunteers, as well as supporters like you. Consider donating or volunteering with us to help us keep our mission going.
Are you ready to transform your life? At happyliving.com, we've discovered 4 keys to help you live with purpose, joy, and significance. Unlock your truth with the Happy Quiz. Unlock your happy formula with inspiring stories from the Something Significant Show. Unlock your roadmap to happiness with our free ebook, Making Your Mark of Significance. And unlock your inspired life with our life-changing e-course, The Philosophy of You and Your Inspired Life. This is your time to shine. Go to happyliving.com now and click Unlock the Power of You. Unlock your power. Live your best life. happyliving.com.
And we're back, and this is the Something Significant Show, and I'm your host, Matt Gersper. And my special guest star today is Damien Argrett, a former college All-American and professional basketball player who turned his journey from competition to calling. Shaped by a mother's quiet strength and a life built on discipline and faith, Damien now develops young athletes into confident, character-driven leaders through mentorship, training, and service. Through BOBW Basketball Services, BOBW Cares, and his book Against the Clock, Damien proves that the real win is transformation, not trophies. Damien, I love your focus on building people, not just players. And I think you're going to love this article that I found called The Science Behind the Power of Giving. It revealed something really made me think that the simple act of giving can become a gateway for discovering your reason for being on the planet. Science confirms that when we give our time, talents, and treasures, it doesn't just help others, but it transforms us. Giving helps us rise above our obstacles. It helps us to find meaning, and it even helps us discover our purpose. So I updated our formula. Power plus purpose plus giving equals really happy. So how about you, Damien? Has giving your time, talents, and treasures been a powerful pathway for discovering your purpose and for getting through hardships and for bringing real meaning into your life?
Yeah, man. I mean, I would say for me, especially as I've gotten older, I've matured. Uh, I've come definitely to understand that the more you give, the more you receive. And I'm not talking about monetary or things, if that makes sense. I mean, I've I've developed so many great relationships and been able to get so many great opportunities. And I know those things are definitely a direct reflection of the not just what I give, physically or monetarily, but just even spiritually, just my faith and everything like that. My time, giving them my time and stuff. I definitely wholeheartedly believe that the more I've given, the more I've received, and
Mhm.
just understanding now. I wish I knew it back then, because we're thinking the hard work and everything is all it takes, but that's not true. Like you have to be generous,
Yeah,
and always if you really want to, get what is due to you in life, for sure.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, don't we all wish we learned our life lessons earlier? It would make everything a whole lot easier.
Oh yeah.
But if you haven't learned it yet, today is the day you can learn it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so science tells us that giving brings meaning to our lives, and the joy we feel, you can see it in your face. The joy we feel when we're creating value for others confirms it. But there's something working deeper, Damien. I believe that the magic of life shows up when we're giving from living in our purpose, because that's where the joy doesn't just touch the receiver, it flows to the giver too, and even to those who are witnessing the giving. And something else happens here. Fear loosens its grip, self-focus shrinks, peace grows steadier, and hope grows stronger. That all comes when we align with purpose and we become more so we can give more. So Damien, the audience and I would love to witness what that magic looks like in your life. So sit back, my friend, open your heart and have a listen to what people are saying about the impact that you're making in their lives by giving from living in your purpose. One person said, for Damien, success isn't about trophies, it's about transformation, helping young athletes find discipline, purpose, and confidence that carries far beyond the court. Another said, Damien embodies the golden rule. Another said, he is the best human being I know. Another, our community is blessed not because Damien does the extraordinary or unbelievable or miraculous. It's because he, like he teaches, he does all the little things to the very best of his ability. Others said Damien coaches people, not just athletes. I've watched him take kids who came in unsure of themselves and give them structure, accountability, and belief before ever focusing on performance. He makes kids feel coached, not criticized. You can actually see them change over time. They stand taller, speak up, and hold themselves to a higher standard. He taught our son to be a respectful and amazing young man. Damien has a huge impact on my family and this community. He'll always be a part of our family. He's a great husband and father and friend and man of God. Underrated, responsible, and intentional. He shows up and gives everything every time. A trusted mentor, he goes above and beyond. We couldn't ask for a better coach. On time, detail-oriented, dependable. If Damien says he's going to do it, it's going to be done and done right. He's one of the good guys. He may be the most consistent person I've ever met. You could go away for 5 years, come back, and Damien would still be doing the same things, only better in every way. Now, this is me speaking. That's what I call kaizening life. Still others said, he does what needs to be done, so everyone he loves and respects is taken care of. I appreciate everything he does. And finally, this person said simply, I can say this with absolute confidence that everything Damien does is with love. So Damien, how does all that incredible love make you feel?
Yeah, man. Oh, man. Got me a little choked up over here. Uh, man. Uh, really, definitely, it makes me feel good, you know. Um, I tell people all the time when I was living for trophies, when I was living for recognition, when I was living, for materialistic stuff, I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy at all, even when I got all of that stuff. Um, to your point, it wasn't until I just opened up my heart and just really just started giving, just started being there for people, not expecting anything, showing up, being consistent. Uh, that's when my life really felt, and it feels like it has meaning, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. I mean, I've never felt so rich in my life,
Mm-hmm.
and not from a monetary standpoint, just from what I do, the impact I know I have, the love I have for the people around me, the appreciation I have, just wanting to see other people win, wanting to see them accomplish their
Mm-hmm.
goals, wanting to see them, continue to be in their faith and their faith strengthened and stuff. I mean, um, yeah, I can't believe, that, those people, I mean that much to those people and they think that highly of me. I mean, definitely, yeah, I'm speechless.
Keep
Speechless.
doing what you're doing. It's
Yeah.
working. And folks, that's what this show is all about. Just look at Damien right there. And it's not, he's doing work he loves and he's not expecting anything back. But look at it's all there. All that love, you are feeling it. That's why you feel so good in your life right now, because you weren't hearing those things, but you were feeling them. And so that's what we're trying to convey here. We're here, Damien and me and all our guest stars, to encourage you, our listeners, to search for and find that same magic in your life. It's available to you. It's available for everyone. And it comes from this great big happy circle. Giving your time, talents, and treasure is a powerful pathway for discovering your purpose. And then when you find that purpose, build your life around it and give from living in your purpose, because that brings deep joy to you. Damien gets great joy from what he does, and to those around you. So it seems that giving leads to purpose, and giving from purpose leads to joy, Damien. So if we're going to capture the entire exponential power of our happy formula, let me tweak it just a little bit more to power, times purpose times giving equals happy to the third power, and that's really, truly, deeply happy. Does that sound about right to you, Damien?
Yeah, that's spot on, Matt. I mean, you definitely hit it on the head, man. Oh man, I'm still, trying to process all the stuff you just mentioned, man. I mean,
Very
yeah,
good.
nah, you spot on though. You're definitely spot on with that.
Right on. Let's wrap things up with a lightning round. I love the quiet power of words and the capacity for great quotes to change lives. As I've prepared for our conversation, a handful of quotes came bubbling to the surface, not because they're polished or fancy, but because they echo your journey. Discipline formed in unseen moments, character shaped long before the spotlight, and a commitment to build people, not just players. So I'm going to read a few of the quotes. I'll read each one to you and ask you to share the very first thoughts that come to your mind. No filtering, no fixing, just straight shooting right from your heart. Ready? Here we go.
Yes, sir, I'm ready.
This is from John Wooden. Sports don't build character, they reveal it.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. If you cheat in sports, you're going to cheat in other areas of your life. So I definitely agree with that. Like if you don't touch that line when we run the sprints, I can guarantee you go, cheat in some other areas in your life. So I definitely agree with that, for
Yeah,
sure. It's a
yeah.
great quote.
I love, one of the things I still remember, fifth grade coach, basketball coach. His name was Hal White, and he used to call us girls. Come on, girls. But his rule was when you go into a basketball court, you cannot touch the court with your feet until you're playing. So if you're walking around it, you can't walk, cut and step on the corner of it as you walk. And still to this day, I remember that, and I wouldn't touch a basketball court like that. So what you said, it's you teach rules, and if you're supposed to touch the line, you touch the line. That's the way you do
Yeah.
it. Yeah, good stuff. This is from Will Durant. It's often also attributed to Aristotle. And he says this: we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit.
I definitely agree with that. I mean, to my point earlier, just making up my bed, I'm not perfect, I'm not excellent, but I know every single day that's going to happen, regardless of how bad, how good I feel, you know, how good I feel. So just building those habits, and those habits translate to other areas in many areas of my life, just that one simple task, being consistent with that. So I definitely agree with that quote. That's a great quote.
Now, I guess in your case, being 6'8", you can really mess up a bed.
I can't really fit in my bed. So I don't really mess it up too much. I don't move around, too much, but yeah.
Goodness, 6'8", you're on the outer edge of it. I'm about 6'3", and
Yeah.
so everything's pretty. I'm still a little bit long for some places, but at
Yeah,
6'8", a lot of places don't fit for you, do they?
yeah. I sleep sideways.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so Will Durant, who we just talked about, was describing who a person becomes through their habits, how identity and character are shaped by the small repeated choices that we make every day, like making your bed. The next quote shifts the lens a bit, not so much about character formation, but about the development of skill, the process of building mastery over time through focus and patience and intentional effort. So this one's from Robert Greene. I love it. I love all these. He said, mastery is not a function of genius or talent. It's a function of time and intense focus applied to a particular field of knowledge.
Yeah, man, that's I got to get these quotes from you, man. I want to share them with some of the players I work with, but I definitely agree with that. I was never the most talented basketball player. I could guarantee you that. There were players, guys I grew up with who were way more talented than me. I just worked harder,
Yeah.
and as I got into college, being around great coaches, great people, I was able to fine tune my skills. So I wasn't working on tons of stuff. I was working on specific stuff and being real intentional about what I needed to work on, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
if I'm playing inside, I'm working on 2, 3 moves, based off what offense we're running. So I know if I get the ball in these spots where I'm supposed to, I'm shooting 100, 200, 300 shots a day. Like ball's going in the hole, and as a professional, I carried those same traits with me and that same work ethic with me. Like I was never overly talented, but I worked hard and my work was intentional. I don't waste
Hmm.
time, whether it's basketball or anything else. And that's something that I really learned as a basketball player that carries over to other areas of my life. Just being intentional, not just being a
Yeah,
hard worker, but being smart and intentional.
yeah, yeah, 100%. This one comes from Denzel Washington. He said, it's not just what you have, but it's what you do with what you have. Who are you lifting up? Who are you making better?
Yeah, man. Like I said, the more I've been given, um, the more I feel like I have to give, you know, uh, and I don't, yeah, I don't want everything for me. I think you have to give,
Yeah,
whether it's monetary, giving people information, advice, like you can't be selfish. People weren't selfish to me, and that's why I'm in the position I'm in today. So I definitely agree with that quote, man. You got to give as much as you possibly can.
yeah,
Because I mean, not just because it's the right thing to do or you're supposed to do it, but for me, it's just part of who I am. I'm a giver and I want to always be that way. And I want to
yeah,
teach my son to be that way too.
yeah, I'm sure you will. From Pablo Picasso, he said, the meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away.
I'm giving it away every single day. Not just the gift of basketball either, but the gift of showing people how to work hard, how to be consistent, how to show up, how to care for others, especially when they can't do anything for you. I think
Yep,
people they miss that. You have to have the ability, and that's when my life really has changed and it's just been great for me where I've gotten to a point where I'm able to care for others, knowing that they can't do anything for me and genuinely want them to do better than even I'm doing and want to see them win and just
yeah,
want them to do everything they want to do. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that quote.
yeah. Very good. Now, we've mentioned your son quite a few times, but we haven't called out his name yet. So would you say your son's name so we don't get through this whole
Yeah.
episode? And he said, Dad, you didn't even say my name.
Okay. His name is Kason. So kind of like the acronym, the word you were using, his name is Kason. So Kaison.
Right on. Hi, Kason. Okay, this is our last quote, Damien. It's from Goth. And he said, whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now.
Yeah, man. I mean, kind of just going back a little bit, I've made plenty of mistakes, man. And for me, I just had the right people come into my life at the right time. I kind of mentioned that in my book too. I feel kind of selfish because, the time my dad passed away, I had a coach, a teacher, all these people in my life, and it was hard for me to, pour into my siblings, because I was still a young
Mm.
man and I didn't know what was going on with me. But
Hmm.
um, I mean, it's it's hard. It's hard to describe that one, man. You got me. You got me on this quote. Oh, man, I mean, uh,
Let me give it to you again. Whatever you, because you talk to your kids all the time. So whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. So you have a goal, you have a dream. Then he
yeah,
says, when you begin it, boldness, being bold, has genius,
yes,
power,
sir.
and magic in it. And
It
this
do.
this quote continues on to what you said. There's a lot to it. But one of the things it says is once you commit to your goal, then providence moves to it. Says all sorts of things and people step
I
in
get
to
it.
help
Okay,
advance
I
you
got what you're saying.
along
Yeah, yeah,
that you couldn't have
yeah.
imagined in your life.
I
So
got what
you
you're saying.
go for it.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome, man. So yeah, for me, I would definitely say right now, I try to be that person. And in this day and age, it's easy for kids to give up and quit,
Yeah.
because they don't get those results as soon as they want to. So just kind of being able to share my story and, how I got cut when I was in high school, but, I showed back up a couple years later. I showed back up prepared. Once I eliminated the excuses out of my life, even as an adult, that's when good things started happening and more doors started opening, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Because you can hold yourself back from the blessings that God has in store for you, because
100%.
the people who are supposed to be in your life won't be able to, reach you until you mentally are in a space where they could reach you.
Yep.
So I was at a point where, especially as an adult, where I stopped all the nonsense, going out and partying and doing all that. And the good people in my life, like my closest friend Sean, my cousin Deshaun, who were doing good things and being stand-up men, their energy and their faith was able to pour into me, and I was
Mm-hmm.
able to, get my life back on track and just, handle my business and do what I'm able to do
Mm-hmm.
from a business standpoint, from a leadership standpoint. Um, and I try to make sure that I'm pouring that also into the kids that I'm working with now. Don't
Yeah.
give up,
Yeah.
work your behind off. It's not going to be easy, but I promise you, I'm going to be here for you,
Yeah.
and I'm going to
Yeah.
continue to push you even when you don't want me to, because that's why I am where I'm at today, because people pushed me when I
Yeah.
didn't want to.
Yeah, very good, Damien. So those quotes and your responses, they reveal the disciplined character and servant leader spirit that you pour into your athletes and community every day. So thank you for sharing your big heart with us on the show today. And now, my friends, if Damien's story has inspired you, if it lifted your spirit and it got you thinking about developing mastery in your own life, then I invite you to share that energy with our incredible team at WITV7 who make this show possible. They're a 501c3 charity on a mission to educate, empower, and encourage people in need. Every gift matters, big and small. With your support and their tireless work, lives are being transformed, and our circle of love keeps expanding. So donate today because it'll do good and it'll make you feel good too. Damien, I love the way you turn discipline into opportunity and use basketball as a doorway to build character, confidence, and purpose in young lives. And I admire your consistency, your quiet leadership, and the legacy of hard work and faith that you carry from your mom into everything you do. And I'm super happy that you've shared your faithful, selfless, transformational spirit on our show today. Will you please take a minute or two and share any parting remarks you'd like to leave with our audience?
First off, man, I just want to quickly thank you, Matt, for having me on, giving me the opportunity to share my story. Did my homework and stuff, going back, watching, your old interviews and stuff. Love the show, man. Love what you're doing. To the audience out there, just believe in yourself and don't take your foot off the gas. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep showing up. Be intentional with your work, be intentional with what energy you put out there, because what you put out there is going to be what you're giving back. And just give. I can't stress that enough. Don't be afraid to give, whether it be your time, whether it be monetary. Just give, because I promise you, you're going to be blessed. I wholeheartedly believe that, and I'm definitely, I can speak from experience that, when you do give, you will be blessed.
Yeah. Thank you, Damien. And friends, it's because of stories like Damien's and listeners like you that we've been named one of the top 100 life purpose podcasts worldwide, ranked at number 17. So thank you. I appreciate your support for our mission and for sharing these stories of inspiration and purpose. I also want to thank WITV7 for hosting and promoting our show so we can keep interviewing inspiring guest stars like Damien and reaching folks just like you ready to create your own extraordinary lives. And most especially, thank you, viewers and listeners. You'll find links to social media and all things Damien Argrett. Find him, friend him, follow the work he's doing to build young lives with purpose and character. Explore his basketball development programs, his mentorship work, community outreach, and buy his powerful book, Against the Clock. You'll find all the links in our show notes. And if his story motivated you, consider sharing this episode with somebody who needs to hear it today. Finally, from me to you, dear friends, I love you and I want you to be really, truly, deeply happy too. So go to happyliving.com and click Unlock Here and start unlocking the life you were meant to live, one that's filled with purpose, joy, and real significance. And as you start unlocking, think about what we can do together, you and me, to improve the happy of your world, one person at a time. Till next time, I'm Matt Gersper. You are awesome, and this is the Something Significant Show. And we're out.